So you're a US citizen and you filed a green card application for your spouse to come here from overseas. But it's taking forever. You're waiting for the I-130 to be approved. And now the big question is, can your spouse come to the United States as a visitor while the I-130 is pending? This is one of the most common questions I get asked by clients every single day. In this video, I'll tell you, first of all, if it's possible and how to make it more effective if you end up trying to bring your spouse to the United States as a visitor while your application is pending. We'll talk about the things you need to do, how to avoid immigrant intent, talking about the temporary nature of the visit, supporting documents to prove that you have a known immigrant intent, and all the best tips for success if you really have to try to come here as a visitor. So let's jump right into the video. So friends, remember, when you apply for the I-130 immigrant visa petition for your family member overseas, the presumption of the US government is that your relative's intention is to immigrate to the United States permanently, that they are intending immigrants. And most people who are going through the green card process believe that it's virtually impossible to apply for a tourist visa while the I-130 immigrant visa petition is pending. And while it's true that many embassies and consulates are not happy to issue those visas, it doesn't mean that that process is impossible. In fact, quite a few families are able to come to the United States with a tourist visa for specific reasons and then return back and finish the process at the home country. And this is the topic of this video, and I'll tell you exactly how it's possible to do that. The biggest point that you have to remember, as long as we can demonstrate to the US Embassy or Consulate that there is a known immigrant intention behind this visit, then the chances of your application to be successful are going to be very, very high. So let's talk about all the elements that you need to prove to be able to secure a visitor visa while your I-130 application is still pending. Number one is that we have to prove the known immigrant intent of the nature of the visit. If you look at our immigration system, the immigration system does allow immigrants to come here to the United States while their petition I-130 is pending, but they must prove known immigrant intent first. And the biggest thing you have to do is to prove to the US Embassy and Consulate that your trip to the United States is temporary in nature and you have every intention to come back. And the best way to do that is by obtaining, first of all, travel documents to show them that you will be buying a return ticket to your home country at the end of the trip. Also, intent to return is not just showing them you have the plane ticket, the intention to buy it, the ability to buy it financially, but also what are you leaving behind? What family members are you leaving behind? If you are the spouse of a US citizen, you're coming to visit, you have your parents over there, you have other family members, maybe you have a job that you cannot just leave. Whatever will show the government that you have every single intention to return will increase your chances to get that tourist visa. So number one, known immigrant intent is one of the most important elements of being able to get a tourist visa while the I-130 is pending. Number two, establishing strong ties to your home country. Very connected to step number one, known immigrant intent, but strong ties is essentially a combination of many factors. This essentially involves presenting convincing evidence to the US Embassy consular officer as to why you are going to come back. Strong ties including family ties, who are you leaving behind? It includes economic ties, what do you have in your home country? How much money do you have? What kind of job do you have? What are you doing over there? It includes social ties. How involved are you in the community? Do you have a particular role that if you are gonna go to the United States, there's a good reason for you to return? And of course, employment is very well connected in all this, because if you have a really good job, if you have something that you've done for years, the fact that you're going to go for this 2 weeks vacation is not going to jeopardize your intention to return to your job. And these ties are the most important things that we can show the government before they are making that decision. So strong ties to your home country are the number one elements where they actually deny those cases under Section 214B, which is lack of ties. The more ties you prove, the more chances you have to convince the officer to give you that visa, even if you have the I-130 pending. Number three detailing the temporary nature of this particular visit. When you're applying for tourist visa and you have an I-130 pending, we have to explain to them in very, very much detail why are you going, for how long, what is the reason that you have to be there and you can't wait for the immigrant visa to be approved. So the more details you give them, the better chances you have to get that visa approved. Maybe it's a wedding that you have to be part of. Maybe it's a business deal that requires your presence there and you just have to go there for 2 weeks to sign documents, you're going to come back. The more evidence you bring with you to the consular officer, the more chances you have to get that visa approved. Number 4, you have to collect so many documents to prove your non-immigrant intent. And the documents are as following. Number 1, employment evidence. So it's a letter from your employer detailing that they give you the time to leave, where you're working, your salary, and your position in the company, and the duration of your work. The longer you've been working there, the better it is to make that evidence very good. Another evidence is property ownership. What do you have? Do you own a house? 1 house, 2 houses? Who is on the deed? When did you buy it? Property ownership, in addition to employment support, are key elements in the evidence you will collect. Financial connections to your bank, to your investment properties, whatever you have over there in addition to property is essential to add to this application. Family ties, who is left behind? Kids in school, parents, elderly parents that you're helping. Whatever you can show family ties, you put this evidence in your package. Return for your travel itinerary. When are you going to go? When are you going to come back? All the financials were made to secure that trip. They want to see exact dates even before the visa is issued. If you're going for an event, you want to present the invitations, the wedding, whatever that is, clear and convincing. And very important element is past travel history. Did you go to other countries? If it's your first time in America, maybe you go to Europe, maybe you have other visas to other countries. That will help a lot to show it's not your first time traveling and you always came back to these other countries. That helps a lot. And of course, your personal statement describing why you're going, when are you coming back, and your intention to finish the green card process at the US Embassy abroad. These elements will be very helpful to convince a consular officer to give you the visa. The reality is that people are getting tourist visas while their applications are pending for I-130. It also depends where you are coming from. If you're coming from Africa or certain Asian countries, your chances to get a tourist visa are much less than the ones that are applying from Europe. It is the reality of our visa application process, and it's important for you to understand that if you're coming from, again, Nigeria, Pakistan, Philippines, it's going to be hard for you to get tourist visas. It's not impossible, but it's going to be harder for you as opposed to you applying for a tourist visa from a country, first of all, that doesn't need a tourist visa like an ESTA, or even a country that does need a tourist visa like Poland or Romania, where even though it's harder to get tourist visas from there, it's much easier than other countries that I just mentioned. The bottom line is that if you prepare for this properly, do not be afraid to apply if you have a good reason and all the documents I just mentioned in this video. As always, if you need help with the application process, send me a text 619-483-4549 or go to www.immigrationasap.com, apply there, and we'll contact you ASAP. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.